How did I get here? Fuck.
Sonic the Hedgehog, released June 23rd, 1991, created by Yuji Naka and designed by Naoto Oshima. Back in the days of grunge rock, skateboards, and Pee Wee Herman getting banned from adult theaters, Sonic was the perfect mascot to represent the radical coolness of the 90s. His overwhelming speed, his attitude, the aesthetic, the fact that he's fucking blue, I don't know. But what made him such a massive success back then, and what's happened in the over 30 years since 1991?
Sonic 1 was the massive hit that Sega needed back in the early 90s, as they were trying to go after what was known as the undeniable king of video games at the time. This fucking dork.
Even today, Nintendo stays relevant in the gaming space, not for good hardware or the trendiest of shooters, but for solid games, innovation, and... But that all started in the mid-80s with the success of Donkey Kong Classic and the release of the NES with Super Mario Bros. Mario Bros was the killer app of the 80s and showed how a simplistic but solid game formula and gameplay loop could lead to massive success. But there was one thing that Mario games were missing: speed. Sure, you could play the games quickly, that's actually what led to the creation of Sonic, the creators trying to play the game as fast as possible. But the games themselves could only go so fast. Sonic, however, was fucking zooming! Holy shit, look at that blue rat go!
But Sonic nowadays is remembered for other things. Ever since the mid-2000s, Sonic has been on a very rocky adventure from Shadow the Hedgehog to Frontiers. Sure, there's some good games here in the mix here or there, but Sega has made a goddamn roller coaster of the highs and lows of this series from the early 2000s to the late 2010s.
Could you look your son in the eyes if he looked like this?
But how did it go wrong? What happened to Sonic? Everyone has different views of what Sonic even is, and I have no clue where to even start. Should I review the bad games, the comics, the shows, music, gameplays, fucking eyes and arms, for Christ's sake? Everything about this hog can change depending on how funky Sega is feeling in that day.
But before all that, Sonic was much more simplistic. Bump the thing, bop that thing, hit the fat fuck, and get the fuck out of there.
So today, that's what we're going back to. Sonic the Hedgehog for the Sega Genesis. Now obviously I wasn't there in the 90s, not everyone can read this. I personally had my start with the series on GameCube with Sonic Mega Collection and Sonic Adventure 2 Battle, Mega Collection in particular being one of the best collections to this day, outdoing even the official ports nowadays like Sonic Origins. I'll talk about these two another day though. For now, let's talk about all 6 zones in Sonic's first debut blast-processed adventure, starting with, of course, the stage everybody knows, the stage everyone is fucking tired of, the stage Sega won't let die. Green Hill Zone.
What a fantastic piece of false advertising. Green Hill is by far the best stage in the first game. The colors pop, the music has become so popular, it's one of the first things that comes to mind when video games as a whole are brought up. It's just a really well-rounded stage that has good speed sections, enemies, level length. If you know what you're doing, you can blast through these acts in less than 5 minutes. This is the level Sega was talking about with their blast processing in their game with speed and fun. Sega also did something that I find interesting with the boss of this zone. Most games would have a series of bosses with different characters, but Sega shows their hand first and has the main antagonist be the boss of every zone, Dr. Robotnik. Look at his goofy-ass smile and cape. I can't get enough of my little egg-shaped animal enslaver. What a great first boss to start on, too. Simple ball and chain maneuver, 8 hits, bing bang boom, he's gone, free the animals, very simple. This stage is a prime example of a Sonic stage. There's a reason it's first. You gotta trick the kids into thinking the game is actually good. All jokes aside though, this is the perfect way to start off the series. Everything feels so lush and green, the background moves with you with parallax scrolling, making your speed feel that much more convincing. It's what most people come back to and think of when they talk about Sonic 1. Thanks to the power of blast processing, everything feels so snappy and smooth. But wait a second, what is blast processing? From what I've read, it seems to have been believed that the CPU had the so-called blast processing power being clocked at 7.7 MHz compared to the Super Nintendo's 3.58. Then why was blast processing only mentioned in the US? No mention of it in Japan or the UK. It seemed so important that there had to be some reason the other regions weren't mentioning it. Well, I did hours of research, scoured every facet of the internet, and I've come to my own personal theory as to what the blast processing really was. Leave it to the Americans. I really love this stage, like anyone else. I sure hope the next stage isn't a blocky, slow drag that completely goes against everything Green Hill has to fucking stand for. Okay, let's get it over with. Marble Zone.
Myself and many others were gatekept from the rest of the game because of this purple marbled piece of shit. That may sound harsh, but I'm serious, this is a prime example of a terrible Sonic Zone. 99% of the stage is wait for this, wait for that, wait for these tubes to move, slowly push this giant block, wait on said giant block on lava, wait on spikes while being chased by said lava. Even damn Robotnik here makes you wait while flying over you, making little dips as he flies around shooting fire at the ground. It's slow, the enemies in lava are cheap. I genuinely don't have much to say because I'm just so goddamn bored playing this level nowadays. Spring Yard Zone. Now this place I can get behind. Sure, it has some of the stop and go antics I don't like from Marble Zone, but this stage has a lot going on to keep it interesting. It's the only stage to tell me to cope while I'm playing it. This place doesn't screw around. The stage is brutal, there's enemies everywhere, bumpers and springs to send you who the fuck knows where, bottomless pits, more stop and go. I'm seeing a goddamn pattern with this. It's hard, but I feel like it's more rewarding than Marble Zone since it's still relatively quick. Good zone, can't wait to see what's next.
What the fuck is this bullshit? Okay, seriously. What the fuck? This stage is underwater, bad enough, but it's a goddamn slog to get through. Sonic moves so slow, doesn't breathe underwater. The stage is full of bullshit traps, it's so piss poor I can't fucking stand it.
This stage is so bad I had to stop mid-recording because of how much the stage makes me wish I was a double amputee so I couldn't play it anymore. See, I wasn't that specific and they actually cut off my legs instead, so now I can't get up to turn the game off. And here you were thinking I was complaining about Marble Zone being slow, but what the fuck happened here? The entire damn level is just dragging yourself through the water, gasping for air, wishing to be back in Green Hill where the game was actually fun. They had to have known it was bad. They give you a shortcut to skip the first act. Gee, Sega, where's the shortcut to skip this zone? This boss in particular is a real fucking pain in the ass. You just gotta climb up this tunnel, right? Simple, easy, anyone can do it. Oh no. This is where many of my playthroughs of Sonic 1 end. I can't fucking stand this boss. I either drown, or I get pricked, or I get speared. I genuinely can't think of a worse Sonic stage in the entire fucking series. This is actually getting me mad about Labyrinth Zone. I fucking hate that place. Would you be proud of yourself taking this to prom? Well, on the bright side, at least the pain is over for the rest of this game, right? Right? Starlight Zone, an easy highlight of this game. I love this stage. The music, the nighttime setting, the level design actually being speed-based. This stage has some pretty big highs, and unlike most of this game, doesn't have that many lows. For me personally, it's really just these guys and that dork. First off, these guys are lame, and I wish they didn't show up in the next stage too. They're always placed in an awkward as hell spot to stop your speed, which is just annoying, and you'll usually fall into a pit with a ton of them. This boss, though, is just those again, but like, you're just shooting them at Robotnik. It's not that bad, it's not that great, it's not too fun, it's still not Labyrinth Zone. But now, for the big finale, the last zone until Sonic and Robotnik's big battle, what could possibly go wrong? Well, I know what isn't wrong with this stage, the music. This is my favorite track in Sonic 1, hands down. It has such a climactic, dramatic feel to it. The drums are low and loud, the synth is high-pitched and unnerving, the little that it does just gets me so pumped and ready to be a blue fucking idiot. The mechanical vibe is perfection too. The entire game has had a slow descent from the lush greens and blues of Green Hill to this dark, dank, red, gray mechanical landscape. I've always loved that detail in Sonic 1 as you get closer to Robotnik's territory. So what is wrong with this stage? Well, once you're fucking dead, first of all, this is the last zone and it shows. There's bottomless pits, flames, saw blades, flames, more fucking flames, too many flames, Jesus fucking Christ. But despite all of that, you keep going. You made it through Act 1, you struggled through Act 2. All of the pain, the anguish, the suffering, the Labyrinth Zone, all of it leads up to this, Act 3, the last one. Just one more. What? Hi?
bullshit. Why in God's green Mobius would they put you back into this fucking hell? Did they run out of ideas? Out of ways to torture the player? What did I do to deserve this? Thank God you could take a big shortcut. At least they're that generous. But good lord, what were they thinking?
Okay. It's over. All that's left is the final boss. But with the rug pull they just fucking gave us with the bullshit of Scrap Brain 3, who knows what kind of torture could be in store? But I'm ready. I beat Labyrinth Zone. I conquered Scrap Brain 3. Bring it on, egg fucker. I can handle anything you have for me. And that's Sonic 1. Sure, I complained a lot, and I definitely don't go back to this game unless I have to, or if I'm just tired of Sonic 2 and 3 at the moment, but I can still say for sure that I have a lot of love for this game. Something about classic Sonic's design, his music, the aesthetic, the level design, it just has such a warm place in my heart that I can't help but admire this first attempt at greatness. It definitely shows, too. Sonic 1 is still, to this day, one of the highest selling games in the franchise. Now, I personally think that's because of the marketing more than the game itself, plus the fact that it was a pack-in game for the Genesis after it released, making it much more common to find a not-for-resale label on the front of the cartridge. This game is flawed, sure, but I do still find enjoyment going back to where it all started and seeing what ideas they expanded on in later titles, seeing what worked, what didn't, what makes a comeback. A lot of this game is still very influential in the gaming industry to this day. Through thick and thin, I will always... Fuck! Damn it! Through thick and thin, I will always love this game. Mostly.